This is Dr. Matt Barber of Alabama Orthopedic Clinic. We are proud supporters of Ransom Reprogram, Ransom Ministries, and all of the good work that they do in our community. If you would like to learn more about us, check us out at alortho.com or barbertotaljoint.com. You can also hear more from me personally on the Ortho Real podcast. Thank you again for allowing us to be involved with Ransom Ministries and all of the great work that they do.
Hey, welcome to the Ransom Experience. My name is Matt Armbruster, Executive Director of Ransom Ministries. You're going to hear stories from people that we've served and people that serve alongside us, as well as those that we partner with throughout our community. You're going to hear about decisions they made throughout their life and things that happened through different avenues of their life that caused them to go down a path that they didn't see themselves going. And then also those decisions that they have to make on a daily basis to stay away from those decisions that they made in the past. Ransom Ministries empowers people to utilize their God-given gifts and talents in their career and for their community. All along the way, we learn how to help those close to us and also maybe even help ourselves. This is real. This is raw. This is Ransom.
With every star.
This show is brought to you by Ransom Recycling, your number one choice for electronic recycling in Mobile, Alabama. Help reduce waste in our landfills by recycling all of your unwanted, unused, and non-working electronics. Ransom Recycling is a division of Ransom Ministries that is helping to put men and women back to work. Check out ransomministries.com for a complete list of acceptable items. Drop-offs and pickups can be easily scheduled through the website. Please note that we are not accepting TVs at this time. Ransom Recycling, open 8 to 3 Monday through Friday. Help our planet while helping men and women re-enter the workforce.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ransom Experience. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been going through the Ransom Reprogram curriculum that we came up with over the years to teach our students how to become more valuable in the workplace, but also overcome some things that are keeping them from being in the workplace, such as felonies, drug addiction, homelessness. And we've so far covered in the couple of weeks ago, we covered the repair stage. Then we went to rebuild, and today I'm going to cover the restore stage. Hope you enjoyed the rebuild part of it, and I hope that you're seeing kind of what our students go through and what our teachers teach in this process. So the restore section is a place where they can kind of restore their belief in who they are and the confidence that they have in being out in the career field or whatever and going after the careers that they want. The first session in this section is session 12. And the inspiration is plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. That's Proverbs 15:22. So in this one, it's called the Employer Roundtable because we bring in local employers, people that hire people that are in a position that do interviews, that are looking for good talent out there. So we bring them in and they share with our students what they do in the workplace, what their business is and what they look for in employees. So they share those things one at a time. They'll share the company they work for again, and they'll share what they're looking for in employees. So then we have our students ask questions that they would ask in an interview. Some of the questions they ask, how would employers feel about hiring someone with tattoos? That's something that some people care about. Some positions you can't have it showing or whatever like that. Another question would be, what should I look for as far as opportunity for advancement in your company? What are the things I can do that you as an employer would think were good things for advancement, moving into another position? Should I ask the interviewer about their drug test policy? We tell them to ask about that, not because they want to get over on the drug test policy, but their sobriety, if they're coming out of addiction, is very important to them. And they need to know that there's a policy so they're not around those things because, again, their sobriety is an important part of their career. How does being how does being lacking in education affect me as a job candidate? And they ask that to these employers. Some of the employers that'll be here, they require you to have a bachelor's degree or have a diploma from a high school or a GED. And then it says, what do employers look for in the ideal employee? Almost every single time, the employers talk a lot about character. As you saw in the last 2 weeks, we talk a lot about character in our classrooms. And the reason we do that is because most of the employers that we talk to say they're looking for people that have good character, whether those be honesty or soft skills such as communication, being punctual, being coachable, and communicating to their employers what their needs are. So during that employer roundtable, they get to know employers that are local and that are hiring people within this area. And it's a real good time for our students to really get to know what it takes to get a job. And then we ask them in their worksheet, they'll ask, what surprised me most about the information that they obtained today? What are some things that those employers told them that they didn't even think about? And I know sometimes things come up about social media, and most of our employers tell these students that, hey, they look at social media to see how they act outside the workplace. Again, your life is your life outside the work, but when you put on your Facebook page or Instagram that you work at a certain place, then you're representing that company. And that's one of the things that most people put in that section, what surprised them the most, that people actually look at that. And then what are 3 things I'm going to remember and use in an interview? Could be the questions they ask, could be the things that the people ask, but it's a really good opportunity for them to get in front of employers and practice what we've been teaching them. Then we move into session 13, which is the mock interview session. And our scripture for that day is, do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I've called you by name. You are mine. That's to get them confident in who they are, share their story. And I tell you, what we tell them also is be honest. You know, if they ask about their felony, be honest. But we use this thing called SAR. It's the situation, the action, and the result. So you stay on the situation for a short period of time, and then you tell them what you've done to make yourself better. And some of those things are, I've been through Ransom Reprogram where I've learned about anger management, time management, and all those different things, and how to cope with the trauma that I've incurred over my life. And that's some of the things they've done. The result is that they've become more confident in who they are. They understand that their past doesn't define them, and they move forward. And that's a big thing for them. So when we bring in companies, so in the session 12 where we bring in employer roundtables, we're always looking for companies to come in and sit through that employer roundtable with us, because I think it's vital for us to get people that know the situation of the job market. So in the mock interviews, we bring in real live business people, and they run real live interviews. They'll sit and they'll ask them the questions. We got a form that they ask different questions. Tell me about yourself, all those basic things that they ask in an interview. And then those students answer those questions truthfully and do a good job. Normally they run through 2 or 3 rounds of interviews, and you can see the confidence build each time they interview with a different person. And they also work on the things, because we also have a sheet that is rating them on certain areas, whether that be appearance, how they shook hands when they came in, and all those different things that are important in an interview, and they rate them on 1 through 5. And then we try to work on that on the next round. And hopefully by the 3rd round, they're very confident and they're able to not have as many mistakes. Some of the things that we talk about in an interview are submitting a clear professional resume that we worked on in the previous sessions. Then also making eye contact, using proper English and avoid slang terms. Sit up straight, smile, make sure your body language is welcoming. Communicate your past accurately and confidently. So those are things that we're trying to teach them through this mock interview. And it's really cool to see, again, their confidence grow through each time they get to interview with someone. And I've had people from all different businesses. We've had people through temporary services to legal services, restaurants, construction owners, and they'll come in and they'll interview them. We've actually had a few people hired through those mock interviews, but they're very confident by the time they're done with that training that they can go into an interview and be confident and do what they're supposed to do. So then we move into session 14, which is, again, Joseph's story part 2. We covered Joseph twice because he is a very great example of someone of character that doesn't let the things that are happening to him in his past or present affect what he does and his character in whatever he's doing. If he's in prison or he's the head guy, he's always going to have confidence. So we go over that. We review the story that we had in Genesis. We talk about the famine and how Joseph didn't let his past hurts affect the way that it's a lot about forgiveness, because that's a big thing for all of us, is that we all need to forgive. We all need to move past it. And it isn't saying that person's right for what they did. It's really to protect you and to make you feel better, and also for you to move on. Because someone once said that unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And that just doesn't work. It actually destroys you. And I've learned that personally through some experiences in my life. And I get to share those with the students that, hey, it doesn't do any good to hang on to hurts. It doesn't do any good to hang on to just being mad at someone. You have to work through that and also forgive. That's what Joseph had to do to his brothers. He had to forgive them in order to help them. And it really turned out to show that he had great faith and that he had great character. And then we talk about, again, forgiveness for his brothers, and then reassuring his brothers that, hey, I have forgiven you. And there's some character traits that we cover in this one. Again, you're going to notice we covered character traits all throughout. And some of the character traits of Joseph are that he was responsible, consistent, he worked hard, he wasn't self-centered, he was also very successful in everything that he put his mind to, and he was a multitasker. And then we have them circle, what are your character traits that you have? And they circle that too, and we try to compare those to Joseph and understand that we will move towards Joseph-style character traits if we just keep working towards it. And I think that's a great thing. And so Joseph is a great example for them. Again, we use Bible verses and Bible stories to really relate to them on a daily basis in their jobs and in their personal life. Then we cover SMART goals in that same chapter again, but we talk about SMART goals. One is specific. It needs to be a specific goal. And so her goal, I'm going to use the example that's in the book. Susie's goal is that she wants to be healthier. Then measurable. It needs to be a measurable goal. So Susie Jane decides to lose 5 pounds in 1 month by losing a pound and a half each week. And then that's measurable. Then it's attainable, right? It has to be an attainable goal. And Susie Jane decides to stop eating snack foods and drinking sugary drinks. Is it realistic for her goal? And is this possible? Yes, that's an attainable goal. It needs to be relevant. She also needs to know that, hey, she needs to bring her cholesterol down, whatever, that she's having issues with. And that is a relevant goal. And then it needs to be time-based. She set that as a month. A month from now, I'm going to lose this much weight. And that's her time-based. So we talk about SMART goals again. And then we go through a worksheet where we ask different questions. One of them is, how is Joseph a good example of character you need as an employee? Who did Joseph have as a role model of his faith? Because we always have to have people in our lives that will pour into us and teach us how to walk by faith. And so that is session 14. Now we go into 15, where we use the character Jonah in the Bible to show a person that's been running for so long, and a lot of his situations, a lot of the things that he's doing are affecting not only him, but everybody else, because Jonah affected everybody on that ship when he decided he was going to run from God. And then we also talk about how Jonah then repented and went and did what God had asked him to do. And then he also got mad because God didn't do it exactly how he wanted him to. And we tell the students, hey, and everybody out there listening understands it. It isn't always going to be exactly how you think it is. You just got to trust that God's in control. He's going to take care of the situation, and you have to be okay with however he does that. The question is not whether he can do it. Sometimes it's how is he going to do it? I think of Mary, who was told she was going to have a baby. She was going to be a virgin. And she didn't ever really question whether God could do that. She just questioned how he was going to do it. And I think that's okay to ask that, is how are you going to do it, God? Because I believe you can do it. I just need to figure out how. So we talk about that. We talk about forgiveness, because Jonah had to get to a place of forgiveness. And then we move into the hands-on portion of this, where we do it's called the 3-chord strand. And we take 3 chords, braid them together, and show how strong it is. because that goes back to having people in your life that will protect you, watch over you, keep you where you need to be. And that's building strength. If you try to do it on your own, you're weak. You're too weak to do it on your own. You need to have God in it, but also have mentors and people around you that can encourage you and build you up. So that takes us through that portion, the restore stage. It's a great opportunity for us to talk to employers again so that they can talk to them and they find out that they do have something to offer those people that are hiring and people that are looking for employees. Our people come out of this section of the program with way more confidence, and you can just see it as we move through each section of our curriculum. Their confidence build, their character build, their hope build. One thing we talk about too is that, and all of us can do this, is go back to when you were a little kid and you had a dream of being something, right? And normally that can push us to show us kind of what our interests are. Because, even if you wanted to be a superhero, that shows me that if I want to be a superhero, then I care about people. And so I probably need to get a job that cares about people. That might be an RN, might be a lawyer, or it might be someone that serves in a nonprofit or whatever, because you have a desire to help and make better the community you live in. Same with if you always wanted to be a fireman. You obviously care about people because you want to help them. So there's a way to look back into your childhood, because the Bible says, come to him like a child. And I think that's because as a child, you just don't have any fears. You don't have any doubts. You haven't had enough time for people to pour doubt into you and you not think you can do it, or fear of failing. So I think we need to go back to that. We need to look at it, and it'll tell us kind of where we want to go and where we need to go as far as in our adulthood and our career. So as we went through these, you see the progression where we work a repair stage where we just got to face who we are and the things that we've done and understand that that's not who we are. It's just what we did. And then we move into that next session where we're into rebuilding, and we're going to start rebuilding your confidence and the belief in yourself and the hope in yourself. And then we're going to go into the next one we're talking about today, and we're going to bring people in your life that are going to tell you, hey, you do have something to offer. You are a good person. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I don't know, there's a lot of people probably listening to this podcast that sometimes doubt that they have anything to offer anybody. But I'm telling you, all of us have something to offer somebody. We all have a purpose on this planet, and we all have something that we need to offer to other people, and we can change people's lives. I tell people every day in these classes, we might only have 9 people in a class, but if those 9 people decide they're going to be all that they were made to be, then they will change the world. So that we can change the world even with a small group of people. We just need to surround ourselves by the right people. So that's that section. So it's a little shorter today because these different sections get a little bit smaller, but they're a lot more detailed. And so I hope that you learn something through this, learn what our students go through, but also maybe pick something up for yourself to understand that you do have things to offer this world. And I hope that encourages you. I hope you'll keep looking for what God has for you. And I hope that you'll keep our students in your prayers, and you will keep lifting them up, because as they move through this, I think they'll be very successful in whatever they go out to do, as long as they use the tools we've given them. And that's what these are. So, man, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you turn in next week when we will then cover the last section called Relaunch, where we're sending them out once they have learned all this. So if you want to learn more about Ransom Ministries, go to ransomministries.com. Follow us on all of our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Also, review this on the wherever you get your podcast. Tell us how we're doing. Also, send us an email at info@ransomministries.com and tell us what you'd like to hear on this podcast and what interviews you have been encouraging to you. It'll help us keep doing it, help keep our faith built up, and we appreciate you. Until next week, I hope that you'll have a great day and be all that you can be. Until then, we'll see you next week.
Too many days in the darkness without a glimpse of the light. Running tired and broken and scared, but I swear I'll never give up the fight. With